There's a secret few men have the courage to face, and those who do are never the same. While most are trapped in a cycle of addiction, anxiety, and emptiness, there's a silent, almost hidden path that transforms ordinary men into natural, irresistible, and unshakable leaders. But no one talks about it, because it touches the root of masculine power, sexual energy. If you were told that everyone masturbates, and that emptying yourself is healthy, you were deceived. What seems normal is precisely what tamed your strength. The truth is simple, yet hard to digest. The more you empty yourself, the further you move away from your purpose. But if you learn to retain, and more than that, to transmute, you awaken a power that doesn't depend on appearance, status, or external validation. In this video, you'll understand the 3 hidden stages of semen retention. You'll discover why the first few days are a battle, how this energy can be used to build empires, and why some men shine without opening their mouths. It's not theory, it's real experience. It's science, it's spirituality, and it's a life strategy. And if you take it seriously, the next few months will make you unrecognizable. So before you continue, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. This helps me continue creating this content that almost no one has the courage to teach, but which can transform your life from the inside out. Now, take a deep breath, because what you're about to hear isn't comfortable, but it's exactly what you needed to know. It's at this first stage that most men give up without even realizing it. Semen retention doesn't begin in the body, it begins in the mind. The silent war takes place there, between impulse and purpose, between immediate desire and the discipline built with each choice. The man who begins this practice is, in fact, beginning a battle against the most untamed version of himself. And let's face it, this inner enemy knows exactly where and when to strike. Modern addiction, fueled by clicks and instant dopamine hits, can't be broken by motivating phrases in the mirror. Breaking the cycle requires vigilance. A real man understands that the daily struggle begins upon waking, not with morning wood, but with the decision not to be dominated by it. Have you ever noticed how urges appear in moments of boredom, stress, or loneliness? It's no coincidence. The enemy uses emotional gaps as gateways. At this stage, controlling the mind comes before controlling the body. And controlling the mind means observing yourself without judgment, but with firmness. For example, when a craving strikes, you can breathe deeply, drink a glass of ice water, walk for 10 minutes, or open a book that inspires you. Meditations, by Marcus Aurelius, is an excellent choice to remind yourself that true strength lies in mastering yourself, not others. Most men fail here because they confuse abstinence with retention. Going without masturbation while suffering, writhing with desire, and counting the days isn't retention, it's torture. And no one can handle it for long. True retention is transmutation. It's transforming the energy of desire into physical vigor, mental focus, and spiritual presence. And this only happens when you begin to see the practice as a path of evolution, not punishment. The first few days are the most treacherous. The brain craves easy pleasure like a baby crying for candy. And like any responsible parent, you need to say no with love, firmly without violence. This isn't about castrating your sexuality, but about educating it. And like all education, it requires repetition, patience, and compassion. Mistakes can happen, but what defines a man isn't the mistake, it's what he does afterward. Many report wet dreams during this phase. This isn't a relapse, but rather the body's natural cleansing process. Don't beat yourself up over it. Use this moment as a sign that your energy is building up, and your system is adapting. Instead of shame, feel proud. You're so committed that even your subconscious is getting involved. And when your subconscious cooperates, the fight becomes fairer. It's important to avoid triggers during this phase. Social media, suggestive videos, and even certain songs can reignite desire. If you want to win this war, clear the battlefield. Swap your cell phone before bed for a mind-expanding book. Create a nighttime routine with chamomile tea, reading, silence, and breathing. Turn your night into a ritual of preparation for the next battle. Support also counts. You don't have to go around shouting, "I'm practicing semen retention." But choose friends who lift you up, not drag you down. People who talk about purpose, training, and discipline. Avoid conversations about pornography, women, and vulgarity. You're sculpting yourself, not deforming yourself. And sculpting requires care, precision, and purpose. At this stage, the greatest gain is self-knowledge. You discover what awakens your desire, what makes you want to run away, what weakens you. And the more you understand your weaknesses, the stronger you become. This is the foundation of true masculinity, the strength of someone who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone, because they've already conquered themselves within silence. And no one can take that kind of power away from you. But this is just the beginning. If resisting the storm of the mind is already difficult, imagine when the energy begins to accumulate and needs to be channeled somewhere. This is where the second stage begins, where the alchemy of transmutation enters the scene and reveals a new dimension of retention. When people stop wasting their vital energy, something surprising happens. It begins to accumulate. But energy accumulated without direction turns into pressure, anxiety, and restlessness. This is where many get stuck, because they don't know that retention isn't just to hold, but transform it like electricity. If it's not channeled, it can burn everything. If well conducted, it lights up everything around it. This energy is like fire. You can use it to light a fireplace or burn down a house. The man who learns to transmute his sexual energy develops a presence that commands respect, even in silence. It's not magic, it's biology aligned with intention. When you retain it, your body produces more testosterone, your gaze changes, your posture changes, your voice gains gravity. All of this puts you in a state of natural magnetism. But energy doesn't move on its own, it needs a channel. Physical activity is one of the best ways to transmute it. Weight training, running, martial arts, swimming, any practice that involves effort, breathing, and focus. Men who train during retention report dramatic gains in strength and recovery. It's no coincidence. It's the body harnessing the fuel that was previously wasted on fleeting pleasures. Beyond the physical, there's the mental channel. Transmuting means studying, creating, undertaking, meditating. Have you ever noticed how great inventors, leaders, and geniuses spoke of the importance of chastity or self-control? Not because they were moralists, but because they understood the power of well-directed vital energy. Use this time to learn a new skill. Study something that inspires you. Write, paint, create. Transform desire into expression. Another important channel is the spiritual. Meditation, prayer, silence. During retention, your perception expands, and your connection with the sacred intensifies. Many report vivid dreams, clearer intuitions, and a sense of connection to something greater. If you direct this energy inward, it reveals things that were previously hidden. The veil of distraction begins to fall, and clarity emerges as a silent gift. You can also transmute through service. Help someone, volunteer your time for a project, lead a cause, solve a problem in your community. Masculine energy seeks a mission. If it doesn't find one, it destroys itself. But when it finds a noble purpose, it transforms into courage, persistence, and presence. And few know this, because few have the courage to go through the previous stage. Another powerful way to transmute is through art. Yes, art. The music you compose, the poem you write, the video you record, the design you design. All of this is sublimated sexuality. Every creative man is using his vital energy to give form to the invisible. So, instead of thinking only about mechanical productivity, think about genuine expression. What do you want to reveal to the world with your energy? Be careful not to rush. Transmutation isn't a button you press. It's a daily practice, made up of small choices. Taking a deep breath before reacting. Spending more time with yourself. Swapping pornography for a real project. Retraining your gaze. Reprogramming your pleasure. And this takes time, but the time you dedicate to it is the same time you spend building your new identity. Before continuing, everything I'm explaining to you here, I break down more calmly in my ebook The Power of Semen Retention. It was created for those who are starting from scratch and want to know how to apply semen retention to their daily lives in a healthy way, without any crazy ideas or exaggerations. It's a practical guide, straight to the point. You'll realize that excitement doesn't disappear, it changes form. And that's when you discover the real secret. Pleasure is in creating, not in consuming. Pleasure is in building a strong body, a clear mind, a defined mission. Excitement becomes energy for movement. And when that happens, oh my friend, you begin to shine effortlessly. And that glow is something no one can extinguish. But the world feels it. People feel it. And it's at this point, where their transmuted energy begins to emanate wordlessly, that something even deeper begins to manifest, a magnetic presence. And that's what the next stage is all about. There comes a time when a man no longer needs to explain who he is. He enters a room, and his presence speaks first. It's the silence that commands, the gaze that pierces, the gesture that commands respect without being rude. This is the magnetic presence, the silent fruit of well-managed semen retention. And it's not born of arrogance, it's born of self-mastery. Magnetic presence isn't about standard beauty, expensive clothes, or the number of followers. It's about energy, vibrational frequency, coherence between what one feels, what one thinks, and what one does. When a person stops betraying themselves, the universe begins to respond. People can't explain it, but they feel it. And they approach, curious, suspicious, or admiring. Women notice. Men too. Not out of desire, but out of instinct. Something in the energy field says, there's something different about this man. And what is that something? It's vital energy that isn't wasted. It's focus that isn't fragmented. It's sexuality that's mastered, not repressed. Retention gives a man his own light. And those who have their own light disturb those who still live in darkness. This presence manifests itself in simple things. The way you walk. The way you listen without interrupting. Your posture when speaking. The tone of your voice when saying, no. The ability to remain calm when everyone else is losing control. All of this is noticeable, even if no one talks about it. It's like an invisible perfume. You can't see it, but you can feel its impact. And you know what's most curious? The stronger you become on the inside, the less you need to show it on the outside. The ego begins to lose ground. The need for approval diminishes. The inner noise quiets. And when this happens, your soul begins to command your body. And a man's soul in restraint, on a mission, in connection, is something that transforms entire environments. Magnetic presence is also discernment. Knowing when to speak, when to remain silent, when to act. It's strategic sensitivity. You enter a place and immediately sense who's lost, who's faking, who's at war. And you don't judge, you just observe. And that gives you an advantage. Because the world is dominated by those who can maintain clarity even in the midst of chaos. And this clarity is one of the fruits of mature retention. Another point, presence isn't about standing out, it's about not going unnoticed. A magnetic man doesn't need to shout, he attracts. He doesn't need to chase, he draws attention to what he does and not by what pretend to be. That's why so many people spend energy trying to appear, but those who hold back energy simply an. And what is authentic remains. A good example of this are silent leaders. Gandhi, for example, didn't need to raise his voice. His magnetism came from inner congruence. Jesus, according to the accounts, simply looked, and multitudes were converted. These men had accumulated, well-directed energy and were connected to a higher purpose. This isn't religion, it's spiritual energy in action. And over time, this presence changes your relationships. People begin to listen to you more attentively. You are called to lead, to advise, to inspire. But it also attracts envy, provokes discomfort, and breaks masks. Therefore, at this stage, more humility is necessary than ever. Because the brilliance of presence can turn into vanity, and vanity is one of the most subtle forms of self-sabotage. But if you can keep your feet on the ground and your spirit expanding, then retention becomes a gateway to something even greater. A state of connection, influence, and lucidity that goes beyond the physical. A path reserved for the few who persist. And that's where the true secret begins that few tell, and that has yet to be revealed. Now that you know the 3 stages of semen retention, the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you let it fade into oblivion like so much other information you consume but never apply? Or will you use it as fuel to start the greatest revolution of your life, the one that begins within you? Because, in the end, it's not about retaining semen. It's about becoming the man you were meant to be. How many times have you felt like you could do more, but something kept holding you back? How many times have you regretted falling into the same cycle of instant pleasure right after? Most people prefer to ignore these questions, But men who truly change face them head-on. What about you? Are you ready to face your own shadow? Or will you continue to give your energy away? Stop for a second and think, what would your life be like in 90 days if you applied what you just learned? Imagine your mind clearer, your self-esteem higher, your energy vibrating, your presence influencing others. You can start today. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to be firm. You don't need luck. You need determination. Because true change doesn't begin in the external world, it begins now, with an internal choice. If this content made you reflect, then share it in the comments. Which of the 3 stages do you feel you're experiencing now? And what do you intend to do to evolve to the next one? Tell me. I want to hear from you. This space is for men who seek truth, not perfection. And if you want to follow this path with me, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. Because this is just the beginning.